Are you a new real estate agent doing open houses and they're just not working for you? Maybe you just started doing them or you're about to start doing them and you're not sure where to start. You don't know what to do and you don't know what to say. I mean, after working hard all week, why would you want to spend hours over the weekend doing an open house when you could be spending it with your friends and family and doing the things that you like to do? Look, I totally understand the way that you feel, and I felt the same way when I first got started in real estate and started doing open houses. However, what I've discovered over the years and after doing hundreds of open houses is that the open house is probably the most underutilized lead generation form of all the different types of lead generation out there. And the secret to this is that you get the best bang for your buck from open houses. Now, the crazy thing is most agents are not taking advantage of this incredible opportunity. What's up, guys? I'm the Modern Agent, Jeff Ruby, and I help real estate agents launch, build, and scale profitable real estate businesses. And today, I want to talk to you about open houses and show you exactly what you need to do to have a successful open house. I'm also going to share with you exactly what I've done and what I've created to build a 7-figure real estate business. So when I first got started in real estate, I did a lot of open houses. I mean, a lot of open houses. It was pretty much every weekend. I'd throw some Fridays in there and also some weekdays. I even sat in new construction homes that were empty. They were only framed with the studs and walls and a roof in the middle of a hot Colorado summer. I had no air conditioning, no power, no water. Fortunately, there was a porta potty out there, but I was holding open houses like it was crazy. Now, of course, I was a new agent, so I didn't have any listings. So what I would do is I would walk around the office and I would ask who had listings that I could hold open. Now, I usually found one or two, and I'd borrow some open house signs and go sit there for a few hours, maybe even take a nap. Now, I usually found a couple of open houses to do, and I would borrow some yard signs and I'd sit around for a few hours and hope that nobody showed up because I didn't know what to do and I didn't know what to say. I was afraid that somebody might actually want to buy or sell a home with me and I wouldn't know what to do. And actually, it's pretty funny. At one of my first open houses, I fell asleep. This was an open house, and I'll tell you the story real quick. It's actually pretty funny. I was doing one of my first open houses. I was just getting the feel of how open houses work. I was exhausted. I fell asleep on the couch, and I was awakened by somebody jiggling my foot and saying, "Excuse me, are you having an open house?" And I was like, yeah, I'm having an open house. I was so embarrassed. I walked out onto the back porch while this gentleman, his wife, and his 2 young children walked through the home. This guy, actually, his name's Jason. He came out and started talking to me on the back porch, and I apologized, and we laughed about it. Here's the funny thing, you guys. Even though I fell asleep during this open house, this guy jiggled my foot and woke me up asking me if we're having an open house. This guy and his family turned into be my first real estate clients. Now, I'm not saying that you should go fall asleep during your open houses, but what I'm saying is you have to get out there and at least be doing these open houses. That actually reminds me, there was another time, and I won't get too much into this story, but I was doing an open house for another agent. I showed up a few minutes late, and this lady, the homeowner, went off on me. She called me names. She told me I was late. I think she even said some random realtor, called me a random realtor. And at that point, I knew, and it motivated and inspired me to go get my own listings. This way I'd be holding my own listings open. This gave me more ownership in the open house game. But getting started, it's going to be about holding any listings open that you can possibly find. All right, enough about this trip down memory lane, although it's fun to go back and rehash these stories. So let's get right into the 5 most important things that every new agent needs to do when they're hosting and doing an open house. This way, you don't have to make the same mistakes that I made to get yelled at by people and fall asleep on other people's couches. Number 1 is to be prepared. If you're going to be doing an open house, you have to know a week beforehand or 5 days beforehand what house you're going to do, what days you're going to do it, and what times you're going to do it. Now, I'll get into the advantages here in just a minute on why you need such a long number of days to have it nailed down to which property you're going to be holding open. And this is very important because you need to be prepared to make your open house a week-long event. Let me explain what I mean by a week-long event. What I mean when I say a week-long event is from Monday through your weekend when you're going to be doing the open house, there are a lot of things that you can be doing, a lot of things that you can be preparing for along the way to make the best of the time that you're going to be there on the weekend. Now, I go over the full gamut of everything you need to prepare for in the Modern Agent Success Manual for Open Houses. However, one of the most important things to prepare yourself for as a new agent doing open houses is that you're probably not going to sell the house that you're holding open. Okay, and I'm going to go through in steps 2 through 5 on why this is really important and what you can do specifically to maximize the time that you're there and using the open house as a lead generation platform. Number 2 is you have to have a marketing plan. Now, as a new agent, it's really important that you understand that you are not a salesperson. Although this is something that you may have been told and you may have learned along the way that you're now in sales, you are not. You are a marketer. Look, you're not selling anything. Even if you did have a listing, it's not your house. Somebody else owns that house. They are selling it, and you are helping facilitate the sale of that home. But you're not opening your coat pocket and selling a whole bunch of watches. You're not going door to door selling encyclopedias. We're providing a service to folks. So I want you to take that in your marketing plan to understand that you are a marketer and you're not necessarily marketing the house. You're using the house as a vehicle to market your business. And I'll get into a little bit more of this in just a second. You see, your number one goal with the open house is to have face-to-face real estate related conversations with real people. This way, you'll be able to meet new people and add new people to your database, build those relationships over time, and before you know it, you'll have a big list of people and relationships that are looking to buy and sell homes. Now, keeping that in mind, there's a number of things you can do in your marketing plan. I'll go over a few of them with you right now. The first one is using print media, such as open house signs, flyers, brochures, and even print mail. These are all things that are applicable to you marketing yourself through using the open house as your vehicle. You can also use an email list. You can make phone calls to the neighborhood. There are services out there that provide phone numbers for particular neighborhoods. You can get some of those and you can call and invite people to the open house. And of course, you can use social media to market yourself again using the open house as your avenue and your vehicle to promote yourself. You see how that works? We're really using the open house, the house itself, as a vehicle to market ourselves in order to launch and build our businesses, gain some momentum, let people know that we're out there, who we are, and that we're in the business and that we're active, we're doing things. And that's who people are going to hire when they're looking for someone to help them buy or sell a home. Number 3 is tools and resources. Now, in the guide, we have a huge list of all the tools and resources to maximize your open house. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to break it down to the few most important tools and resources that you're going to need in order to have the most effective open house. The first tool and resource I mentioned before, and those are open house signs. You need to have lots of signs. 8 to 10 signs or more. The more signs you have, the better. I've seen some agents on our team line an entire street of open house signs. Make it obvious. Make people know that there's an open house. There's somebody there. Take it one step further and make sure that your name is on there. You could even put your email or your phone number or your website on there. You remember, you want to be marketing yourself. And this is free advertising for you with your open house signs. Once you have them purchased, a one-time purchase to have those signs, all you're doing is you're plopping them out on street corners, you're popping them out on intersections with arrows, anything that's going to direct people specifically to your open house and shares the message that you are the realtor holding the house open. You also need to have an e-flyer about the property. Also a print version. See, you can use these in different mediums, from electronic to actually going and doing things like door knocking and handing out these flyers and brochures. You could also put them in the mail, lick the envelopes, put the stamp on, address them to the neighbors, and send those out. You also need to have an up-to-date neighborhood report that includes all of the homes that have been listed and sold, probably within the last 30 days if you're going to do them monthly. These reports will include all the information from the MLS, such as the pictures, the square footage, the price per square foot, all of the data that your MLS holds. You'll be able to put those on the flyer. And guess whose name and picture and information is on the flyer, being the host of the open house? Yours. And the last thing I'll mention here as far as tools and resources that are most important is you want to have a list of homes for sale that are similar to the subject property. In other words, the home that you're holding open, you want to have a list of homes that are very similar that are currently for sale. Because if somebody comes through and that house is not necessarily for them, imagine if you were able to provide them a list of homes that were very similar that they could go take a look at. And hey, if you have some time after the open house, why not offer to show those homes to them? You are the real estate professional. You're the one that can get the lockbox code, open the door, and show it to them. So why not ask? Because if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Now, as I mentioned, there are so many more tools and resources that you can use for your open house, but those are the most important. So make sure and take note to put those down for your first open house. Number 4 is scripts and dialogues. That's right, I can hear it right now, you guys going, no, scripts and dialogues, I hate scripts and dialogues. I get it. However, there's a real important aspect of understanding scripts and dialogues. Let me explain. You see, the point of scripts and dialogues is to make you sound like a professional, even before you have the experience to be the professional. You see, when your communication skills are dialed in, you build a certain level of confidence. And when your confidence is at an all-time high, you're actually able to start building upon that foundation. That's when things start to get really fun and really exciting, and you begin to gain some momentum. And when you're gaining that momentum, you just become that much more committed to building your business. You're starting to have fun. Your communication skills are great and your confidence is there. You're starting to build your business and it starts to become cyclical. You see, the key to effective communication is having the right conversations to the right people at the right time. It's also about knowing what to say and when to say it. For example, at an open house, instead of asking someone, so are you in the market to buy a home? See, the answer to that is either yes or no. And in most cases, they're going to tell you no, even if they are. But what if you were to say, oh, so are you in the market to buy a home or do you live in the neighborhood? See, this way they have to answer the question one way or another. They may say neither, in which case you can follow up with additional questions. You see, one of the things that most people don't understand is the person who asks the most questions is the person who's in control, not the person who's talking so much. So a big takeaway in this video too with open houses and just building your real estate business in general, ask a lot of questions. Now, the only way to know this stuff inside and out is, of course, to practice. So make sure you're practicing your scripts and dialogues specific to open houses and how to effectively communicate with people in your pre-marketing and while you're there at the open house. Number 5 is your follow-up plan. This is where most agents completely drop the ball after they have In many cases, a successful open house. And this is in the follow-up. Now, every guest who comes through your open home should be required to sign in. You should have a sign-in sheet as part of your tools and resources. Between your sign-in sheet, your door knocking ahead of time, your email lists, your phone calls, everything that you've done between Monday and the weekend of your open house, you should have been able to collect a lot of personal contact information, phone numbers, email addresses, actual addresses of where people are living, all of that information condensed into your database. Now remember, the main goal of doing an open house is to have those effective communications with people, right? And also to add people to your database. Well, if you're adding them to your database, you need to have a follow-up plan. Now your follow-up plan is going to be a little bit different for each person who visited your open house. See, each person has different needs and wants and desires and time frames. Some may be renting, some may own, some may just be buying. So through your questions, this is when you're going to find out that information. So while you're having these conversations, it's really important to understand that you're looking to gain more information, not only to serve them at that moment, but also so that you can follow up with them in a way that's effective for them. Not for you. Just because you have a one template follow-up plan doesn't mean that that fits for every possible buyer or seller that visits your open house. Now, there are a few things that are universal in all follow-up plans. The first thing that you should be doing after every open house is sending personal notes with your business card in them. So you want to be getting physical mailing addresses for people. It's as simply as saying, hey, I'd like to put a business card in the mail to you. What's the best address for me to send it to? Or in the sign-in sheet, they filled it out. Or when you were door knocking, you made a note that you would send a business card or get them a business card in the mail. That's a professional courtesy. That's a unique proposition for folks. Most agents aren't doing that. You will get so many thank yous, and you'll actually feel really good about writing a personal note. Here's the thing with personal notes too, guys. People don't throw them out. You know, most people collect the mail, they stand over the trash can or the recycling, they throw stuff out, but if they get to something that's handwritten, they're gonna hold on to that. It's kind of like a birthday card. We hold on to those for a little while. I would always bring personal notes with me to the open house and make sure that before I left the open house, the note was written, the business card was put in, it was addressed, there was a stamp, and I would put it on the mailbox on the way out. You also need to have an auto-generated report for people who you meet at the open house or in the neighborhood. You're going to meet a lot of neighbors. People are very curious about what's going on in their neighborhood. So you're going to get quite a few people that come through your open house that actually live in the neighborhood. So you need to have a monthly report that includes all of the homes that have been bought and sold in that month so you can provide value to those neighbors. You see, most agents aren't doing this, guys. So for you to do that, it's simple. All you have to do is do it once and the system will send the email out once a month for you. So a monthly neighborhood report is another item that you have to have in your follow-up plan. Now, if you meet some people in the open house that they don't have a home to sell, they're not in the neighborhood, but they're interested in buying, then this is when you want to get 3 important pieces of information from them: time frame, price range, and location. The reason why you want to have these 3 important pieces of information is so that you can set them up in your MLS or in your IDX website, whatever your system is, to be able to send out listings that are available to potential buyers. That's huge. You have to have that system in place as well. And there's a number of different systems out there. We have one that we use. It's KV Core. It's totally awesome. We also use our MLS. Now, there are a handful more follow-up plans and procedures that you could follow. The big takeaway is you have to have a follow-up plan and it has to be consistent. After all, the fortune is in the follow-up. Well, that's it for now. These 5 tips should get you started on the path to running and having a successful open house. Now, if you would like a full copy of the comprehensive, perfect open house guide, go ahead and comment below. Just say, send me the guide, and I will get that guide out to you right away. Also, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the weekly videos I put out to help agents just like you launch, build, and scale profitable real estate businesses. Thanks for watching, and until next time, see ya.